My name is Elisa Glass. In January of 2016, I was diagnosed with dermatomyositis, an inflammatory, chronic, rare muscle disease. But prior to my diagnosis, I was a musician. I played in many bands. I was so fulfilled with being in bands. I was just able to express myself. But that wasn't my only passion. I was also a professor at a university. I loved my students. I loved teaching. I was a minister, married many people, baptized many children. I was a small business owner, a mother, a grandmother. I was living my best life. If you would have asked me what else I would have wanted, I would have told you there is nothing. Life was great. Life was really great.
And in 4 days, it was all gone. Gone. My career, my ministry, my business, it was just gone, just like that, in 4 days. And then began my journey, 4 months in the hospital in excruciating pain, 6 operations. Wow.
You're there, I feel you watching, but right now I don't care. On this slippery slope I stand, lost my footing, down I land, and here we go again. But the face of the man on the moon shines upon me and says it's too soon. I reach out my hand and I try, as he says you're not allowed to die. I struggle and get to my knees, and I feel you next to me. You whisper the words, hold on.
3 days prior to my emergency room admittance, I was misdiagnosed with Lyme disease, then contagious mononucleosis. It took about a week and a half admitted into the hospital and many tests. I had blood tests, the MRI scan, EMG, and biopsy for them to determine that I had myositis. When they came to tell me, and they also said, this is a chronic, no cure, and women of color have a high mortality rate. All I can remember thinking was, what? And the next thing I knew, here goes this long journey of recovery. After 4 months, they did send me home, not stating that I was well. I almost felt I was sent home to die. But they referred this wonderful social worker to me, and she helped me with my mental health.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Donnelly. I'm a licensed clinical social worker with over 20 years experience in home-based mental health counseling and medical social work. In 2016, I met Elisa after she was diagnosed with a traumatic, incurable disease called myositis. Along with a team of specialists, she was referred to me for mental health counseling as an integral part of her treatment and recovery process. She had to deal with this traumatic change in her life and the loss of her previous self, typically associated with the stages of bereavement in the Kubler-Ross model. Since that time, we have worked on coping strategies, managed depression with medication, and also learned to eliminate stressors in her life, which is a very important part of the disease recovery process. She's decided now to have myositis be a partner and a passenger in her life rather than the driving force. She's a true inspiration, and I believe all individuals with this disease should seek mental health counseling and maximize their quality of life in doing so. Thank you.
After 7 years of great therapy and having a team of 15 specialists to help manage my care, I really started to look at myself and my disease differently. And during the whole interaction, one day I thought of, I need to extrapolate my disease and look at it as a him, an entity that I wanted to talk to. And when I did, and I said everything I had to say, myositis looked at me and said, "But Lisa, that's what I do." When I had that mini conversation, it changed my perception completely. And I realized at that moment, I wanted to be an advocate, not just for my disease, but others with rare disease, to really specify the importance of not only mental health support, and remember that we should not be isolated, we need to be heard, but also nutritional care. And that was the beginning of me looking for other organizations, and I found Global Genes. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I have met so many people. I have learned about so many different rare diseases. I listen to what people are going through. I read what they're going through. And when the opportunity came to join the Compassion Program, I could not say no. And I applied and got lucky. And most of all, I really got lucky when I was paired with Mitchell. What an amazing young intern. The future is hopeful.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Heacock and I'm a current M1 student at Central Michigan University School of Medicine. I joined the RARE program after a classmate told me about what RARE is and what it has to offer and how I'd be able to connect with other people that have rare diseases. And I found it fascinating at first because these are the rare diseases that we were learning in class and some of the pathologies that aren't common in clinic. But I also really wanted to get into medicine and join the RARE program because I wanted to be able to give hope to people that need to overcome a setback. That's my goal and what I want to do as a physician later on in my career. And I met Elisa through RARE and immediately we clicked. We have a very strong faith-based background. We are very open and down to earth, and that really accelerated our relationship to kind of understand each other. And I get to learn more about her disease, dermatomyositis, and learn more about the experiences that she faces on a regular day-to-day basis. I think one of the most fascinating perspectives about this entire experience so far is that while I'm learning about Elisa's story and everything that she faced in the clinic, I'm also learning how to be an active listener and a good student physician and how I should treat patients. So it's interesting that the things that I have experienced the most about what people with chronic and rare diseases want is they just want a physician that's able to communicate with them properly. I think a lot of dialogue between the verbatim or the verbiage that physicians have versus the verbiage that most people understand about medicine is actually kind of lost in translation. So being able to acknowledge that communication barrier, but then overcome it together, I think is a great way to formulate a plan for a patient and have them be a part of the experience as well.
It was the winter of 2016, and I remember my mom calling me and telling me that she wasn't feeling well and had begun to develop a rash on her face. When she saw her doctor, he looked at her and without performing any test, told her that she had mononucleosis and sent her home. That night, she began to experience paralysis, and that was the start of a 4-month stay at the hospital where she was to learn that she was actually suffering from myositis. I remember visiting her in the hospital and watching her deteriorate in front of my eyes with each visit, and just trying to keep her spirits up with jokes and stories. At the end of the 4 months, I was told that she was going home, and I was elated, because that meant that she was getting better. Except that wasn't the case. The doctors didn't think that she was getting better, and they wanted her to pass away in the comfort of her home. I couldn't grasp that, and I refused to believe it. I was living in Massachusetts at the time and would come to New York every weekend to spend time with her and to help out where I could. Over time, I saw her ever so slowly getting better. I was in awe watching her learn how to eat, speak, and walk again. It was not an easy road, and there were many setbacks, but she never gave up. My mother is a remarkable woman, and I am so grateful that she is still here with us and that she has chosen to be a voice for those with chronic illnesses. And I want to say thank you to Global Genes for helping her to do just that.